This conference will now be recorded.
So yesterday we cover medulla posterior compartment of the leg. Quickly revise the medulla posterior compartment of the leg. So this bony framework is formed by tibia and fibula and posterior surface of calcaneum and talus. So you can remember this line. This is called soleal line. Below the soleal line, this is the vertical line. Divide the medial and lateral areas, right? So after removing the skin, immediately we can see superficial fascia. Superficial fascia contains fat and cutaneous nerves are cutaneous nerves and cutaneous veins. So veins are short stiffness vein and great stiffness vein. So these are the cutaneous nerves. So after removing the superficial fascia, then immediately we can see deep fascia. So deep fascia of the leg is called crural fascia or fascia cruris. So this deep fascia continues above with fascia lata of the thigh, continuous in the popliteal fascia on the popliteal fossa, and continuous with the periosteum of the bones. And these fascia forms the retinacula around the ankle joint. So around the ankle joint, 5 retinaculums are there. So superior, inferior, extensor retinaculum, superior and inferior peroneal retinaculum. So in the medial side of the ankle contains flexor retinaculum. So all these retinaculums, it is bind the tendons and retains in position. So this is attachment of flexor retinaculum, superiorly medial malleolus, inferiorly calcaneum. Structures passing beneath the flexor retinaculum. So compression of the tibial nerve beneath the flexor retinaculum, it leads to the tarsal tunnel syndrome. So we can go to the muscles here. So this is the interosseous membrane and this is a deep fascia. So here this is the tibia and fibula. Posterior compartment or flexor compartment of the leg divided by superficial and deep transverse fascial septum into two compartments, superficial and deep. Superficial compartment contains gastrocnemius, plantaris and soleus muscle. Deep muscles are laterally flexor hallucis longus, medially flexor digitorum longus. In between digitorum longus and hallucis longus, you can see the posterior tibial artery, tibial nerve, and accompanies the here vena comitans. Still more deeper, posterior to the interosseous membrane, tibialis posterior. So superficial muscles, gastrocnemius, plantaris, soleus. So next, triceps surae is nothing but formed by two heads of gastrocnemius and soleus. Form the largest, strongest tendon of the body called Achilles tendon or tendocalcaneus, inserted to middle impression on posterior surface of calcaneum. So this is insertion of the tendocalcaneus. And soleus is example for multipennate muscle. It is forming the triceps surae. It is inserted with posterior surface of middle impression on calcaneum. Soleus is very important point here. Soleus acts as a peripheral heart. So increases the venous return. So collect the venous blood from superficial to deep, and it is ejected towards the heart. That's why it is called peripheral heart. So soleus muscle. So in between the tibia and fibula, there is a tendinous arch. From this tendonous arch, soleus muscle takes origin from tendonous arch. So soleus muscle is supplied by superficial and deep branches, areas from tibial, one from the popliteal fossa, another in the posterior compartment of the leg. So plantaris, it is used for the grafting. So deep muscles are popliteus, flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus, tibialis posterior. So these are the deep muscles present in the posterior compartment of the leg. So identify here, this is the popliteus muscle, very important muscle. Already told you, once again I repeat today. So popliteus muscle, if asking for 4 marks question popliteus, write about intracapsular and extrasynovial. What is meant by intracapsular, extrasynovial means? So origin within the joint capsule of the knee joint. Origin present within the joint capsule of knee joint. That's why intracapsular. In the upper limb, similar example, long head of biceps brachii takes origin within the joint capsule of the shoulder joint. Similarly, origin of the popliteus within the joint capsule of the knee joint. That's why intracapsular. Extrasynovial means, so it is beyond, insertion is beyond the synovial membrane of the knee joint. Insertion beyond the synovial membrane of knee joint. That's why extrasynovial. Extrasynovial. So origin from three sources. Three sources here: popliteal groove on lateral surface of lateral condyle of the femur, popliteal groove on lateral surface of lateral condyle of femur, lateral meniscus. So this is the tibial condyles and this is the femoral condyles. And between the tibial condyle and femoral condyle, we have menisci. Lateral condyle and lateral condyle of the femur, between the lateral condyle of the femur and lateral condyle of the tibia, lateral meniscus. Between the medial condyle of the femur, medial condyle of the tibia, medial meniscus. Medial meniscus. So, popliteus takes origin from popliteal groove on lateral surface of lateral femoral condyle, and also takes origin from lateral meniscus and arcuate popliteal ligament. Lateral meniscus, arcuate popliteal ligament, these are the ligaments of knee joint. Right? After takes origin from these three sources, muscle fibers passes backwards and downwards and medially. Backwards, downwards and medially. See in this diagram. So this is the lateral condyle of the femur. After takes origin from here, muscle fibers are passing downwards and medially inserted to posterior surface of the tibia above the soleal line. This is a tibia. Posterior surface contains soleal line. Above the soleal line, insertion of popliteus muscle. Popliteus muscle. So origin from three sources inserted to the posterior surface of tibia above the soleal line. The nerve supply, it is supplied by tibial nerve. So now to popliteus. Areas from tibial nerve in the popliteal fossa, passing deep to the muscle and supplies the popliteus muscle. So areas in the popliteal fossa, passing deep to the muscle and supplies the popliteus muscle. Action, first most important action here, unlocks the locked knee. After locking of the knee, unlocks the knee joint is caused by popliteus muscle. By rotating the femur laterally, during initial stages of the flexion of the knee joint. So it pulls the lateral meniscus backward and flexes the knee during coughing. These are the remaining actions of popliteus muscle. So origin, insertion, nerve supply, action. These 4 points you can remember. So these 4 points have very important. These 4 points are very important, right? So this is origin and insertion of the popliteus, right? So popliteus lies in the floor of popliteal fossa. Popliteus muscle lies in floor of popliteal fossa. So popliteal fossa floor is formed by popliteal surface of femur as well as condyles of the tibia, then oblique popliteal ligament, then fascia covering popliteus muscle. After remove of fascia covering popliteus muscle, we can see the popliteus muscle. So popliteus muscle lies in the floor of popliteal fossa. Lies in floor of popliteal fossa, right? So that's all about popliteus muscle. Today we discuss the remaining muscles. So deep muscles are popliteus, flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus, and tibialis posterior. So flexor digitorum longus. Then how to identify flexor digitorum longus means it is present on posterior aspect of tibia. So tendon passing posterior to the medial malleolus and tendon of tibialis posterior. So tendon passing posterior to the medial malleolus and to the tendon of tibialis posterior. So which tendon is present behind the medial malleolus and tibialis posterior? That is identified as a flexor digitorum longus. And it is action is plantar flexion of the foot at ankle joint. Plantar flexion of the foot at ankle joint. So what is the origin of flexor digitorum longus means here. So in this diagram, leg bones seen from posterior view, tibia and fibula, and this is the foot bones, right? So if you name, digitorum means divides into 4 tendons. Digitorum means divides into 4 tendons. So what is the origin of flexor digitorum longus means? So here medial part of posterior surface of the tibia below the soleal line. Medial part of the posterior surface of tibia below the soleal line. Medial part. So this is the tibia posterior surface. Here soleal line. Above the soleal line, popliteus muscle. Below the soleal line, vertical line divides into medial area and lateral area. Here medial part of posterior surface of the tibia below the soleal line. Provide origin for flexor digitorum longus. After forming the tendon, this tendon is passing beneath the flexor retinaculum and enters into sole of the foot. After entering into sole of the foot, divides into 4 tendons. These 4 tendons is inserted to the distal phalanx of lateral 4 toes. Passing after takes origin from tibia and passing beneath the flexor retinaculum, enters into sole of the foot. After entering into sole of the foot, divides into 4 tendons. These 4 tendons inserted to the bases of distal phalanx of lateral 4 toes. Bases of distal phalanx of lateral 4 toes. In the sole of the foot, 2 tendons are side by side. Here flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus also seen in the sole of the foot. These 2 tendons are connected sometimes by one slip is called Turner slip. Turner slip. So Turner slip is connecting the tendon of flexor hallucis longus flexor digitorum longus in the sole of the foot, right? So insertion in the bases of distal phalanx of lateral four toes. Similarly, also apply tibial nerve action, flexion of the lateral four toes, plantar flexion of the foot at ankle joint, and maintains the lateral longitudinal arch. Maintains the lateral longitudinal arch. So flexion of lateral four toes, plantar flexion of the foot, and maintains the lateral longitudinal arch. Maintains. Plantar flexion of the foot. So maintains the lateral longitudinal arch, plantar flexion of the foot, and flexion of lateral four toes, right? So here in this diagram, tibia and fibula both are crossing in the sole of the foot. In the sole of the foot, these two tendons are connected by tether slip. Sometimes it is present, right? Next muscle, flexor hallucis longus. So flexor hallucis longus takes origin from lower two-thirds of posterior surface of shaft of the fibula. Lower two-thirds of posterior surface of shaft of the fibula. Lower two-thirds. So after takes origin from fibula, this tendon also passing beneath the flexor retinaculum, enters into sole of the foot, inserted to base of distal phalanx of great toe. Base of distal phalanx of great toe. Now supply tibial nerve action, flexion of the big toe, plantar flexion of the foot, maintains the longitudinal arches of the foot. Maintains the longitudinal arches of the foot. Flexor hallucis longus. So origin from shaft of the fibula inserted to the distal phalanx of great toe. So flexor digitorum longus inserted to lateral four toes. Flexor hallucis longus inserted to base of the distal phalanx of great toe. Right. So this is insertion of flexor hallucis longus. And last muscle, tibialis posterior. Tibialis posterior. So tibialis posterior origin from lateral part of posterior surface of shaft of the tibia. Lateral part of posterior surface of shaft of the tibia. I already told you here. So below the soleal line, vertical line divides into medial area, lateral area. Medial area provide origin for digitorum longus. Lateral area provide origin for tibialis posterior. That's why lateral part of posterior surface of the tibia and also takes origin from interosseous membrane as well as posterior surface of the fibula. Posterior surface of fibula. So posterior surface of the fibula, interosseous membrane, and lateral part of posterior surface of the tibia. So after takes origin from these three sources and below the bones it is forms the tendon. This tendon is close to the medial malleolus and passing beneath the flexor retinaculum, enters into sole of the foot, divides into number of fibrous bands. Mainly tendon of tibialis posterior inserted to the tuberosity of navicular bone, or simply say navicular bone. So tibialis posterior inserted to navicular bone. After insertion of navicular bone, so these are divided into number of tendons, number of fibrous bands here. This is the sole of the foot, fourth layer seen from inferior view here. So this is a long plantar ligament and this is the tendon of tibialis posterior. This is the tuberosity of navicular bone. So mainly tibialis posterior inserted to tuberosity of navicular bone. After insertion of tibialis posterior, inserted into the tuberosity of navicular bone, divides into fibrous bands. These fibrous bands inserted to the all tarsals and metatarsals except talus bone and fifth metatarsal. So after insertion of the tuberosity of navicular bone, divides into fibrous bands. These fibrous bands inserted and are attached to the tarsals and metatarsals of the bone of the foot except talus and fifth metatarsal. Right? So that is insertion of the tibialis posterior. So tibialis posterior origin from tibia, interosseous membrane and fibula. Insertion tuberosity of the navicular bone, mainly tuberosity of the navicular bone. Now supply tibial nerve, and finally actions are inversion of the foot, inversion of the foot, inversion of the foot. Maintains the medial longitudinal arch. What is meant by inversion means sole of the foot facing medially. Sole of the foot facing medially called inversion. Inversion. Sole of the foot facing laterally, eversion. Eversion. So eversion, inversion. Inversion is mainly caused by tibialis posterior and tibialis anterior. Tibialis anterior in the anterior compartment, tibialis posterior in the posterior compartment of the leg. Right. So that's about the muscles of posterior compartment or flexor compartment of the leg. Right. Next one, nerves and vessels of back of the leg. So nerves and vessels of back of the leg. First one, tibial nerve. So tibial nerve, all of you know tibial nerve. Tibial nerve is a branch of sciatic nerve. Sciatic nerve. If you take the lumbosacral plexus, so lumbosacral plexus largest branch is called sciatic nerve. This sciatic nerve passing below the piriformis and enters into popliteal fossa. In the upper angle of popliteal fossa, divides into tibial and common peroneal nerve. Tibial and common peroneal nerve. So tibial nerve, it is a terminal branch of sciatic nerve. So larger terminal branch of sciatic nerve is tibial nerve. Root value arises from L4, L5, S1, S2, S3. L4, L5, S1, S2, S3. So that is the root value of tibial nerve. So tibial nerve, it is a branch of sciatic nerve. Enters the leg, passing deep to the tendinous arch of the soleus. So what is meant by tendinous arch? So fibrous arch connect between the tibia and fibula. It is forming the tendinous arch. From this tendinous arch, soleus muscle origin from tendinous arch. So tibial nerve, it is a larger terminal branch of sciatic nerve. Root value L4, L5, S1, S2, S3. Passing beneath the tendinous arch, accompanies the posterior tibial artery. Accompanies the posterior tibial artery. Then it is terminates after passing beneath the tendinous arch, enters the posterior compartment of the leg and passing beneath the flexor retinaculum, enters the sole of the foot. Enters the sole of the foot. After entering into sole of the foot, divides into medial and lateral plantar nerves. These are the terminal branches of tibial nerve. Terminal branches of tibial nerve. So what are the terminal branches of tibial nerve? Medial and lateral plantar nerves. Or in the examination point of view, what are the nerves present in the sole of the foot means medial and lateral plantar nerves. These are branches of tibial nerve, right? So what is the course of the tibial nerve? So tibial nerve arises from or is a branch of sciatic nerve. Branch of sciatic nerve, larger terminal branch of sciatic nerve, tibial nerve, enters the leg passing deep to the tendinous arch of soleus, passing beneath the flexor retinaculum, enters the sole of the foot, divides into medial and lateral plantar nerves, right? Next one, what are the relations of tibial nerve? Superficially, gastrocnemius soleus and facial septum, skin and fascia and flexor retinaculum. These are the relations of tibial nerve superficially. Deep relations are tibialis posterior, flexor discorum longus, tibia and capsule of knee joint, capsule of ankle joint. It crosses the posterior tibial artery from medial to lateral side. It crosses the posterior tibial artery from medial to lateral side. If you observe this diagram, so this is the posterior tibial artery, posterior tibial artery. This is the tibial nerve, tibia and fibula. So tibial nerve crosses the posterior tibial artery from medial to lateral, because tibia placing medially, fibula placing laterally. That's why. So here tibial nerve, posterior tibial artery crosses the posterior tibial artery from medial to lateral side. Right? Then how to remember the relations of tibial nerve? I showed the picture in the yesterday's class. Here see in this picture. So this is the tibial nerve. So tibial nerve superficial relations are soleus, gastrocnemius, plantaris. Deep relations are flexor discorum longus, flexor hallucis longus, tibialis posterior, tibia and fibula. These are relations, and also transverse facial septum. These are relations of the tibial nerve. Okay. And next, so relations of tibial nerve crosses the posterior tibial artery from medial to lateral side. Branches of tibial nerve. Branches of tibial nerve. So muscular branches supplies the soleus muscle, flexor discorum longus, flexor hallucis longus, and tibialis posterior. So what are the muscular branches of tibial nerve in the posterior compartment? In the posterior compartment. So muscular branches in the posterior compartment supplies the soleus, flexor discorum longus, flexor hallucis longus, tibialis posterior. But what about remaining muscles of posterior compartment of the leg, namely gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris muscle? These muscles are also supplied by tibial nerve, but branches arises from the tibial nerve in the popliteal fossa. So ultimately, what are the muscles present in the posterior compartment of the leg is supplied by tibial nerve, but origin is, but site is different. So gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris, this is also supplied by tibial nerve, arises from tibial nerve in the popliteal fossa. So muscular branches supplies the soleus, flexor discorum longus, flexor hallucis longus, and tibialis posterior. These muscular branches arises in the back of the leg, right? And next, cutaneous branches, it is supplies the medial side of the heel or skin over the heel via calcaneal branches. So medial calcaneal branches arises from tibial nerve, supply the skin on the heel, and articular branches supplies the ankle joint. Articular branches supplies the ankle joint, and last terminal branches are medial and lateral plantar nerves. Medial and lateral plantar nerves. These medial and lateral plantar nerves are present in the sole of the foot, supplies the sole of the foot. Supplies the sole of the foot. So anyway, next class is sole of the foot. In the sole of the foot, so muscles are arranged in the 4 layers. You listen carefully. So these 4-layer muscles are supplied by medial and lateral plantar nerves. Medial and lateral plantar nerves. So terminal branches of tibial nerve, right? So that's it about the tibial nerve. And lastly, posterior tibial artery and peroneal artery, right? Posterior tibial artery. So what is meant by posterior tibial artery? What are the branches of posterior tibial artery? What are the terminal branches of posterior tibial artery? See one by one. So posterior tibial artery, it is a large branch of popliteal artery. Largest branch of popliteal artery. So popliteal artery arises, not arises, sorry. So popliteal artery is a continuation of femoral artery. Then popliteal artery divides into larger terminal branch called posterior tibial, smaller terminal branch called antitibial. These are the terminal branches of popliteal artery. Divides into medial and lateral plantar arteries, passing deep to the flexor retinaculum. So, what are the terminal branches of the posterior tibial artery means? Medial and lateral plantar arteries. Medial plantar artery, lateral plantar artery. Similarly, medial plantar nerve, lateral plantar nerve. Okay. So, course and relations are similar to the tibial nerve. Course and relations are similar to the tibial nerve. Here, course and relations of posterior tibial artery. So here, what are the course of posterior tibial artery? So posterior tibial artery arises from the popliteal artery. Larger terminal branch of popliteal artery arises in the popliteal fossa. Just below the here, this is a popliteus muscle. All of you know. So popliteal artery divides into anterior tibial and posterior tibial at lower quarter of popliteus muscle. If you take the posterior tibial artery, so posterior tibial artery is a larger terminal branch of popliteal artery. After takes origin from popliteal artery passing beneath the tendinous arch, you can see here, this is the tendinous arch of soleus. Passing beneath the tendinous arch of soleus, accompanies the tibial nerve, and crosses the tibial nerve, and passing beneath the flexor retinaculum, divides into medial and lateral plantar arteries. Passing beneath the flexor retinaculum, enters into sole of the foot, divides into medial and lateral plantar nerves. Medial and lateral plantar nerves. So beneath the flexor retinaculum, enters into sole of the foot, divides into medial and lateral plantar arteries, right? Next one. So largest branch of posterior tibial artery is called peroneal artery. So this peroneal artery, largest branch, arises from posterior tibial. So most important branch of posterior tibial artery, this peroneal artery, accompanies the median crust of the fibula. So medial crust of the fibula is accompanied by peroneal artery. This peroneal artery is a larger peroneal artery is a branch of posterior tibial artery, right? So it is supplies the lateral compartment of the leg, and muscles also present in posterior compartment of the leg. So peroneal artery supplies the lateral compartment as well as muscles present in the posterior compartment. Then what are the branches of posterior tibial artery? Number one, peroneal artery. Here in this picture, this is the posterior tibial artery and this is the peroneal artery. Peroneal artery. So peroneal artery, branch of posterior tibial artery, accompanies the middle crest of the fibula and terminates into lateral calcaneal branches. Terminates into lateral calcaneal branches. These lateral calcaneal branches participate in lateral malleolar network. Lateral malleolar network. Lateral malleolar network is nothing but it is a arterial network. Surrounds the lateral malleolus of fibula. Right? Similarly, medial malleolar network surrounds the medial malleolus of tibia. Right? All of you know medial malleolus is formed by tibia, lateral malleolus is formed by fibula. Right? So peroneal artery is a large branch of posterior tibial artery, accompanies the medial crest of the fibula, terminates into lateral calcaneal branches. Right? Next one, circumflex fibular. Second branch is circumflex fibular. In this picture, this is a posterior tibial artery. Here, fibular artery, fibular artery. Here, circumflex fibular artery, circumflex fibular artery. So, circumflex fibular artery arises from posterior tibial artery, or sometimes arises from anterior tibial artery. So, circumflex fibular artery arises from posterior tibial, or sometimes arises from anterior tibial, surrounds the neck of the fibula. Surrounds the neck of the fibula. Surrounds the neck of the fibula. All of you know this is upper end of the fibula, contains head, tubercle, and neck. So circumflex fibular artery arises from posterior tibial. Posterior tibial. Right? Next one, muscular branches. Muscular branches areas from posterior tibial supplies the posterior compartment muscles. And fourth branch here, nutrient artery. Very important. Then how it is importance of nutrient artery means largest nutrient artery in the body. Largest nutrient artery in the body is called nutrient artery arises from posterior tibial. Nutrient artery arises from posterior tibial, largest nutrient branch in the body, enters the nutrient foramen. The tibia supplies the tibia. So nutrient artery, largest nutrient artery of the body is nutrient artery of tibia. Right? Next, communicating branch. Communicating branch arises from posterior tibial. It is communicating with communicate branch of peroneal artery. See in this picture, it is a communicate branch of posterior tibial, communicate branch of peroneal. Both are anastomosed with each other. It is a communicating branch. Medial malleolar. So medial malleolar arises from posterior tibial, participate in the medial malleolar network. And next, calcaneal branch. Calcaneal branch arises from posterior tibial and supply the skin over the calcaneum. Skin over the calcaneum. So calcaneal branch. And lastly, terminal branches called medial and lateral plantar arteries. So medial plantar artery, lateral plantar artery, these are arteries of the sole of the foot. Arteries of sole of the foot. So that's it about the branches of posterior tibial artery. So posterior tibial artery branches are mainly peroneal and nutrient. Peroneal artery, largest branch of posterior tibial, circumflex fibular. See in this picture, circumflex fibular, peroneal, communicating medial malleolar, calcaneal branches, right? Nutrient artery and muscular branches, right? So that's it about posterior tibial artery. Next one, posterior pulse. Posterior pulse feel beneath the and behind the flexor retinaculum, 2 centimeters below and behind the medial malleolus, 2 centimeters below and behind the medial malleolus. We can feel or palpate the posterior artery pulse, that is called posterior pulse. Posterior pulse, right? Next one, peroneal artery. Peroneal artery. So peroneal artery, large branch of posterior artery, accompanies the medial crest of the fibula and terminates into lateral calcaneal branches. Terminates into lateral calcaneal branches. These lateral calcaneal branches are participate in lateral malleolar network. Lateral malleolar network. Right? So what are the branches of peroneal artery? Branches of peroneal artery. Number one, muscular branches supplies the posterior compartment muscles. Nutrient artery arises from peroneal artery, supplies the fibula. So nutrient artery of the fibula arises from peroneal artery. Nutrient artery of the tibia arises from posterior tibial artery. Next one, perforating branches. These perforating branches perforates the interosseous membrane, enters the anterior compartment of the leg. Enters the anterior compartment of the leg. Next one, communicating branch. This communicating branch sorry, communicating branch communicate branch of the posterior tibial, and calcaneal branch supply the skin over the calcaneum. So 5 types of branches arises from peroneal artery, mainly nutrient artery and perforating branches. So muscular branches, nutrient branches, nutrient artery arises from peroneal artery, supplies the fibula, perforating branches, and communicating branch, calcaneal branch. Right? In this picture, arrow showing peroneal artery. Similarly, what is the artery of anterior compartment of the leg? Antitibial. Artery of lateral compartment, peroneal. Artery of posterior compartment of the leg, posterior tibial. Right? So that's it about the posterior compartment of the leg. So thank you for listening. This is the last class of your batch.
Thank you, sir.
Any doubts? Any doubts?
No, sir.
No.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, okay. Anyway, okay. No doubt. No doubts.
No, sir.
No, no, no. Okay, okay. Shall I end this session?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, okay.